Welcome to Gutter Trash, episode 299? Yes. Dörfler by Jeremy Baum. Baum?
I think it's Baum.
Whatever. I know Frank L. Baum is the creator of Wizard of Oz, but I also knew two kids in grade school named Baum.
Oh, really?
Spelled the same way.
All spelled the same way.
Yep. Who knows?
It's the English language.
It's going to be a mystery forever.
Yeah.
My name is Eric.
I'm Jason.
See, I still know how to do the hello properly.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
Not much.
Yeah.
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 Still unhappy.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Yeah. But still here.
Yeah. That's cool.
And hanging with you.
Yeah. See, that's fun, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had fun. We had some food. We had some Chinese food and watched some television.
Yeah, we did. We did. A good time was had by most.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, review is great.
It is. It's the show that we watched. Man, yeah, I love that show.
Yeah. What? So, where did that air? Was it
Comedy Central.
Comedy Central?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on Thursday nights, I believe, at 10.
It's a good show.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Andy Daly. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about him that reminds me of Joe G a little bit. I don't know what it is. Like, maybe like he's like some sort of... I mean, you know, he's less... He's like a more naive, like, you know, version of Joe G.
Is it the positivity?
That, or maybe even... There's something about his
Is
physical
it the amount of sex that he's having?
Yeah, right? The glory holes.
Right.
No, I don't know. There's something about him.
They're both a little, pudgy, blonde,
Yeah, like something about his face even.
Right.
I don't know. He's got that
glasses.
He's got that kind of forever
face.
young,
Yeah.
kind of face. Yeah, and the glory holes.
And the glory holes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So we both know about Joe G's addiction to the glory hole.
Yeah, he's always in the park at midnight.
Yep.
And it's not to play kickball, ladies and gentlemen.
Not a bit. Although there is some ball play going on.
Yeah, a little kicking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good show. I liked it.
Yeah.
I think the first season's still my favorite, but maybe it's because I didn't know what I was expecting.
Right. I mean, I would say that this is a fraction less good than the first season.
Right.
But it's still really good.
It's good. It's good stuff.
On the other hand, though, the first season had Jason Mantzoukas in it for an episode. And as we all know, Jason Mantzoukas is a goddamn national treasure.
Who is that?
It's Jason Mantzoukas.
I don't know.
Zooks.
I don't remember.
He's not on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
He's a comedian. He's on the How Did This Get Made podcast.
Oh, okay.
He was in the episode of Comedy Bang Bang. He played Count Emerald Lugosi,
Okay.
the vampire chef.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a good show too.
He was in the movie The Dictator with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Never saw it.
Recommended.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly for Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah.
He's on The League. He plays Rafi. He's a frequent guest on the Comedy Bang Bang podcast.
Sweet.
Yeah. Jason Mantzoukas.
Good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch review. It's funny.
It is. Recommended.
Mm-hmm. 5 stars.
Yes.
Yeah.
4.5 this season.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, speaking of something that might not get 5 stars.
Sure. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Dörfler.
Dörfler.
A comic book.
It's like a graphic novel, like
It is a graphic novel.
It's his first graphic novel effort, I do believe.
Yeah, I believe so as well.
I think it's what it said in the little blurb on the back.
Yep. I believe I explained last week. This was gifted to me by a friend of the show, Chris Pfeiffer.
How cool is that?
That is super cool.
That is the best.
Yeah. Still am very touched and almost speechless about the kindness of it. And it is greatly appreciated, which kind of makes me feel bad that we are about to shit all over this.
Well, I don't know that we're going to shit all over it. Oh. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Although I don't really know what I read.
Alrighty. See, that for me is part and parcel of the enjoyment of something, is understanding what I have just experienced.
Right.
At least on some level.
I feel like I got a little bit of it.
Alright.
But I feel like maybe this is something I do really like about it, is that I feel like I could quite possibly read this once a week for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I would get bored reading it, but I also don't think I would ever completely understand it.
Alright. That does not sound like an enjoyable experience to me at all. But before we get into that, I will say that it does have some saving graces.
Yeah.
First of all, it is goddamn beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
It is maybe one of the best drawn books I have seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the amount of detail and the craziness and just the overall look and feel of it and the design. It is fantastic.
And it's kind of stylized, like, I mean, it's
super stylized.
It's cartoony, but it's got it looks like it was colored with brush pens, probably.
It does indeed. Yeah, like those colored or at least gray tone micron brush pens.
Right.
Like, just, that's how I
It has a unique look.
Yeah. The end.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but the art is kind of surreal meets cartoony.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that might just mostly be the setting and the storyline that makes me say surreal. But there's a lot of kind of spiral effects and just weird shapes and things in the background.
Even the mundane things are still kind of surreal.
Mm-hmm.
Like just over exaggerated bodies and forms.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love her teeth. I really do love their exaggerated teeth.
Yeah.
There's something about it that I find
it's
alluring.
Appealing.
Yeah.
But therein also may start my problems with it, is that everybody has those same teeth. Everybody has the same lips. Everybody has the same face.
Does everybody have those teeth? I don't think everybody does.
Most of them have the teeth.
I think it's
all of the characters pretty much look exactly alike.
Well, they're different haircuts.
There are, but they're not different enough.
But I think more than one of them are supposed to be the same person. Maybe, sort of. Well, possibly.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah, right.
It does not change the fact that the characters who aren't supposed to be the same person still look exactly like the other people.
They're all pretty white-skinned.
Yeah. And also, this book is super racist.
No. Yeah, let's get into this book.
Right.
What's this book about?
I don't know.
Yeah. It's
I do not know.
It kind of reminds me of the experience I had when I the first time I saw Eraserhead, because I can remember this vividly. I watched it with my brother, and I was like, "Wow, that was neat. That was really cool and interesting." And he was kind of upset with me because I liked it so much, and because
I am on your brother's side,
because he was a David Lynch fan as well.
Right.
But I think we had watched Wild at Heart and Blue Velvet first. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Yeah, I like this guy. He's kind of strange." Right. And then we watched Eraserhead, and he was like, "Fuck this," And I was like, "No, it was really neat." I
understand why you and your why me and my brother and your brother don't get along well.
But he was upset. I think not because he didn't understand it. I mean, he was fine with the fact that he didn't understand the movie.
Right, yeah.
He didn't understand why I thought I enjoyed it.
Right.
But I genuinely did. And and I think it was because I didn't quite understand it. It was kind of mysterious and ambiguous and just dreamlike and surreal, and I didn't really care that I didn't know exactly what he meant by it. I just thought, like, visually it was interesting, and the experience of reading it or watching it was enjoyable because it was so unique.
Right.
I just was like, wow, that was so different from anything I've ever seen. So that was enough for me. I kind of feel the same way about this.
All right. I don't. I feel like I'm all for experimentation and just doing crazy things and pushing the boundaries of what you can do with storytelling and how to tell a story. And even, I'm totally okay with, vague and confusing stories that you might want to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, maybe this is something where he thought, this is for me.
Right.
And I don't give a shit that, maybe no one else will understand that. I'm fine with that. However, I also feel like, there's a way to make things accessible, but still be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
To maybe occasionally think of who is going to be reading this.
Right. And
occasionally a stupid person might stumble upon it or be given it free.
Right? You're just generalizing there. Nobody's specific in mind.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it is a very personal story, and maybe he doesn't want to reveal everything. And I feel like it is full of just metaphors, and sometimes if there's more than one metaphor going on, it gets a little confusing.
Right.
I'm sure a lot of the characters and environments represent things that we just maybe don't know what he's saying. They represent.
All I know is while reading it and thinking about the fact that I would have to talk about this with you, the only thing that I could come up with to even begin to describe what I had just read is to describe it as if, certain people may take this as a great compliment if this was something to describe their own work. But to me, it read as if Jim Woodring had decided to make a comic book out of a D&D campaign.
Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that. Mm-hmm.
And we reviewed a Jim Woodring book a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a fan of Jim Woodering's storytelling. I love his art.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think I had the exact same problem with Weathercraft as I did with Dörfler, is I didn't understand a goddamn thing about it.
Okay.
But it was super pretty.
Here's what I got out of it.
All right, and you took a lot of notes.
I took some notes. Well, I read it once, 4 days ago, and then I read it again today, and today I took some notes.
All right.
Which I looked at right before we started this, and I was like, I don't know how helpful they're going to be, but here's what I got from it. It starts out with basically a dream within a dream sort of scenario, mm-hmm. where you're not sure what's real and what's not. And I don't know if that's even important to the story. I just feel like it sets the tone of the story. You're okay, what is real? What's a dream? Maybe it doesn't matter in this story. And basically what I got from it is there is these kids that were, for some reason, kidnapped by this military group.
The very Nazi-ish type
Nazi-ish,
of
yeah. Yeah, they were invading this town and destroying it, and they were wrangling these kids and just kidnapped them. And I feel like they maybe brainwashed them and somehow used their science to turn them into weapons.
I think it's a little more, I hate to use the word cliche in this the book,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe that maybe the kids were already psychic or had some sort of powers or extra abilities, and then the government took them to harness them and use them as weapons.
Okay. Well, because either way, they turn out to be like this like they have these bands on their head with the military symbol on them, and they're clearly under some sort of control by this military group.
Right.
And they're using them. But a lot of this is told without words.
Right.
Like, some of it has words and some of it doesn't. And mostly all the scenes with the military is just wordless.
Right.
So you're not really sure, but I get the impression that they're being controlled. They haven't just been like, they didn't just join up.
No, yeah. I will also say that sometimes in the pages with words doesn't help.
I know, like, sometimes I'm like, okay, here's a page with a bunch of exposition.
Right.
This is where you really find out
right.
what's going on.
Nope.
And then it was like 3 fairies, totally nude, talking,
insulting each other with juvenile
right?
infants,
Yeah, like,
which honestly really took me out of the story.
that was one of my favorite parts.
Because
one of them called somebody pooper stink. I think
stink, booger bug,
yeah, booger brains maybe,
possibly. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, like, as a fan of like 60s underground comics,
Right.
I could probably read an entire comic where naked girls call each other third grade insults. Like I would probably be fine with that.
Well, listen, I would also normally be totally fine with that. But up until that point, the story was not that. And then that is like the only place that happens within the story.
Right.
So it was just, the naked fairy women show up again, but they don't insult each other or anything like that.
And we should mention that they're constantly pleasuring each other while they throw around third grade insults too. So that adds, like, when I said underground comics, there's a lot of sex and like lowbrow insults going on, which
and again,
I
if
like.
the entire comic was that, we might be having a very different discussion.
So they weaponize these kids, and I feel like the one guy keeps, like, the guy calls himself Uncle Dave, I think.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like is that like some sort of metaphor for like Alvin and the Chipmunks? Like, maybe? Because they have that kind of like chipmunk teeth.
Chipmunk teeth, yeah.
And he's Dave.
Right. Maybe he is forming a singing.
Possibly that's what this is about.
These weaponized children.
Yeah. It's Akira meets Alvin and the Chipmunks. Told through Jim Woodring's D&D campaign.
Right.
But the Uncle Dave guy, at various points, like, lets the different kids go once they've, like, grown up, basically. Right. And maybe they're no longer, maybe their powers are fading. Maybe they're forgetting how to use their powers. There's a lot to do with memory in this.
Right. I think maybe he's actually trying to be fairly altruistic and just rescuing them from what he realizes is just a horrible life.
Right. Yeah, because they're, like, basically trapped in this, like, Darth Vader style chamber.
Right.
Like, that they can't get out of, and their mind is hooked up to this thing, and I don't know if they're harnessing their power, or is that like a gestation chamber where they just leave them in until they need them for war.
Right. This is no explanation.
But he lets them out, and he slips a couple cigars in their coat pockets, and lets them, get out of there.
Right.
And kind of, there's a constant thing where Nola, the main character, I guess you would say, keeps,
for the most part, I would say that's acceptable.
She keeps remembering this thing from her childhood where she was always afraid of developing amnesia, which, I want to say this, when I was a kid, I often thought about amnesia because you'd see it so much in, like, cartoons and TV shows. You're like,
especially in the 80s.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Anytime someone gets hit in the head, they're getting amnesia. Yeah. And I was like, is that what happens? Like, when you get hit in the head? Like, I was so worried to get myself hit in the head. So I can see where that came from, maybe, but
you've been hit in the head so much since then that it's not true.
I guess so. I don't remember. Maybe I did remember more. I feel like there's a lot of things I don't know that I used to.
That's just the weed.
Yeah.
Which also may have just helped you in your enjoyment of this book.
I haven't smoked weed in so long. It's been like a couple years almost. And I honestly was thinking about that while I read this. I was like, I bet this is the type of thing that if I did smoke weed while I was reading it, I would at least think I understood it more.
Right.
And I might actually understand it more because, you're in a zone where you're making these weird connections in your brain. But, So then there's this whole metaphor where Nola is like on this quest, like just walking through this forest by herself with a sword on her back,
Right.
like D&D style. Like
It is very D&D. She's an elf.
yeah,
It is. That's pretty much where I get the D&D.
yeah, it's totally. And I wonder if that's just like her fantasy, like that maybe she's having while she's in those chambers,
Right.
and she's looking for some sort of truth and answer. And then when she does become like totally naked and looks like one of those, child fairy, insulting child fairy things, then this weird hand comes out and takes her weapons away. Mm-hmm. I wonder if maybe that's supposed to be like, them releasing her from being a weapon, like her weapons are.
Is that Uncle Dave?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And then like basically it keeps going back to that thing with the child, and she's she's wandering this forest, and she puts this like sash on a stick and puts it in the ground.
Yeah.
And she says as long as that's there, she knows that she'll never have amnesia because it's like this safe place that she can go to in her mind.
Right.
And it reminds her that, she has this memory from the past.
Right.
And there's eventually, like, she gets released maybe from her role as the weapon, and it flashes to the kid, and the kid is, like, lost in this, like, infinite white area, like, in the Matrix where the guns roll up and Neo loads up on guns. And like, that's the last time we see the kid, because she's, like, maybe losing that safe spot from her childhood. Maybe she's losing her memory or mind or something. Like, I don't know. It's very... I don't know.
Yeah.
Very strange and, like...
And then there's also another kid named Hans, who is throughout the book. Yet turns into a goat at some point.
Yeah.
And is maybe Nola's boyfriend in one of the realities that is being presented.
And this entire thing might be his dream, because on the first page he's, like, asleep in the forest.
Right.
And this entire book might just be happening in Hans's head.
Right. But at the same time, he also looks like maybe one of the kids.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is one of the kids.
Right, but I don't know.
And there's a point in the book where someone tells him that he was in a car accident.
Yeah.
And like there's this weird scene where he's on a motorcycle and he gets, in a wreck.
Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe the entire thing is him
Like
just
having a death dream.
Yeah, like a head trauma fever dream.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Spoiler for a 20-year-old movie.
So yeah, it's very there's no clear-cut answers to this.
Nope. And
It doesn't like all come together at the end and tell you. In fact, the ending is probably the most confusing part of it.
super confused. Still don't know exactly what was happening because the fairies are now invading the world as well. One of the worlds,
Right.
but they're giants.
They're giant. Because they start out tiny. They're in like little, like petri dish sized like containers
Right.
in the lab, and Uncle Dave is looking at them, and they're asleep. It looks like,
Yeah.
or like in a state of like comatose.
But they're also maybe like ultra-dimensional gods who...
We just see however we want to see them.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Uh-huh.
But I honestly would like to read it a third time.
I will let you take this home and read it as many more times as you need.
Maybe I'll even borrow some weed from someone.
There you go.
If a listener has
Borrow
weed, if a listener has weed, well, I think that's like a common way to say, "Give me some weed."
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me borrow this. Yeah, I don't know.
Basically, you don't want to purchase it like a good citizen.
No, I'm doing this for our community. I'm doing this for the listener. There's nothing illegal about asking someone to send me free weed.
All right. Hey, Chris Pfeiffer, go.
Yeah. I don't know what you're doing sending half the package. You send the book that requires weed, but you don't send the weed. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think you could buy weed off of Amazon.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure there's a way around that. I mean, I've never tried.
Well,
but,
sure. Well, maybe you should get on that.
yeah. But, and I was really, really, really close to, like, trying to look it up, like, look up reviews for this book.
Right.
or an interview with Jeremy Baum.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to try to figure it out without doing that.
Yeah.
But I am still tempted to like see if there's, because on the back it just says like, it's like, when you read a blurb like this, it's like, imagine, it's like dreamlike logic dictates the universe of this. You're like, okay, it like doesn't make sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like it really does make sense to him, and I feel like
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it could make sense to me if I just, thought about it in a different way, or like, I don't know, read it a couple more times and saw some connection that I'm not making.
All I know is I'm old and I'm kind of dumb, and I don't have much experience with drugs. So this is possibly not a book for me.
Right.
But I can at least enjoy the art and realize that he obviously worked very hard on it, and he very much cares about what he was working on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't look like it skimped at all.
Not a bit.
Yeah.
Like, at times it looked tedious. Like, I would just imagine it from, like, a drawing art perspective. It would just be thinking about how I would probably just want to slam my head into a table if I had to draw everything.
It looks like it took a long time to make.
Very much so.
Yeah. But it is gorgeous.
Which is why I don't make comics anymore. Because I don't like spending that much time on any one thing.
And what do you think the word Dörfler represents? Is
I
that
don't know. Maybe it's the city or the world that this book inhabits.
I mean, doesn't it have a German tint to the sound? Like,
Yeah.
And if there
it's got a umlaut over the O.
There's an umlaut over the O. Like, maybe it is some sort of...
And there's a character named Hans.
Right.
And there's a very,
Nazi-ish,
fascist regime.
Right.
The guy's name is Jeremy Baum. Or Baum.
Is that...
I believe that is German.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Don't take my word for it. I could be entirely wrong, as I mostly am.
I feel like it's all it's all...
And after reading this, I am questioning everything.
Well, see, that's a good sign, right? But yeah, I feel like it's a dream style story. I mean, even like on the cover and the inlay, like the leaves of the book, there's this weird, like, hieroglyphic style, like, computer lettering weirdness.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe that's a dream thing. You know how you're not supposed to really see letters correctly in dreams? Like, it looks like some sort of language being, I don't know, spoken. And I think at one point a cat actually turns into some of that language.
Yep.
Which I don't know if that means anything.
Well, I don't know about that. Well, I know there's the one cat that had all the spiral stuff on him.
Yeah.
And then there was the other cat that always walked upside down.
I think there was like a part where that language turns into, like, she's got it in her hands, and then all of a sudden it's like two halves of the same cat or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what it means. So just various images that I'm remembering.
Now that I mentioned all the German stuff, I should also mention that there is a tiny little icon underneath the title, Dörfler, and it appears throughout the book. That is basically like 3/4 of the Star of David.
Right. With like an Illuminati eye.
Yeah, right in the middle of it. But then there are some places where that eye is not present.
Yeah.
So.
And there's this weird symbol that looks like, I don't know, like a square with lines coming out of it that's ever present on the military things.
Yeah, it's basically like a broken swastika.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
And it's even on the cigars and on the tanks and like their headbands and their belt buckles, and it's everywhere.
It is everywhere. Man, it doesn't help me one bit to figure out what it was that I read a couple times.
Maybe we should look at the reviews or something and see.
Maybe, I don't know.
See if
because I did also think maybe someone out there explained it a lot better than I figured you could to me.
Right.
That was what I was relying on.
Oh, no. No, you should have known better. Yeah, I always try to not look up stuff like that before we review it, because I just would rather like figure out or like have my own opinion. But this one, I feel like maybe we're both missing something.
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe Chris could fill us in on something.
It could be. Hey, email us if you got any idea what it was that you gave to me. But I mean,
how many times have you had to say that in the past?
Only about 30.
Yeah.
And again, it's gorgeous to look at. And it is definitely a very nice art book.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the like blue toned color palette.
Yeah.
Like it's beautiful. Like it's kind of dreary when they're showing the cityscapes.
Right.
But every other time it's kind of beautiful.
Right. And like the mountains and the woods and yeah.
And then the giant naked fairies.
Giant naked fairies
with
are always pretty
their pale bodies and their dirty mouths.
Hey, that's, I will say this for this book, that it definitely knows the type of woman I look for.
Right? Pale and filthy mouth.
Yep. Kind of. I miss Bambi. Not for me.
Yeah.
If you're like me, you may not enjoy this. If you're like Jason, you may think you enjoy this.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm not so sure that I get it, but I really enjoyed trying to get it.
Right.
So I would like to try to get it one more time.
Sure. I will let you borrow this again, and yeah, if you figure anything else about it, you be sure to let me know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even want you to explain it to me, but like if you have you get to a point where like all of a sudden it's like you put the key in and the door opens, like just that
give you
one
that part.
thing
Right.
that could help me unlock what this thing is about.
Like some perspective to look at it from, or
Right,
something.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. To me, it boils down to I feel like it's like an fascism message, Like, I think that's kind of all it is like a really oddly done, like surreal, dreamlike version of, don't control other people.
Right.
I don't know. That's kind of what I get.
Seems fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, for all I can say that, this is awful. Yeah. Hey, at least he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, it's not awful. It's just not anything that I can wrap my head around enough to enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I also read the 1987 X-Men versus Avengers comic today.
Uh-huh.
Like I read both of these things, and
did that help give you clarity on this?
Yeah, no, like they're both so different. It kind of made me go, "Wow!" Like these are both comic books.
Really, yeah.
Like that was awesome. And that was really good too. I really enjoyed X-Men versus Avengers.
I've not read that.
It was all kind of about Magneto and him trying to stay, a good guy. Like this is when he's a good guy,
right.
And there's like all these temptations of power for him. And
it's when he was wearing the sleek purple onesie with the big M on the chest.
Was there an M on the chest? I don't know if this one had that. I think this one was the one with the shoulder pads and a cape, and it was
he's got the cape but like no helmet, and it's like a dark purple and.
Yeah, it was purple, and somewhere in the book
sleeveless.
He gets the helmet.
Okay.
But I don't think this one was sleeveless. This might have been a variation of that one. Because like half the book, he's not even in a costume. He's just like chilling with the X-Men.
Right.
Like they're like hanging out and swimming and stuff like that. So.
Right. Yeah, I just remember the time period in the X-Men when he was like the headmaster of the Xavier School.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if I recall, also seemed to, go over pretty well with the X-Men. Like
yeah.
They didn't even seem to be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
That's my Wolverine impression.
That was pretty good, yeah. You should have threw the word bub in there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
No, there was a cool dynamic, though, in that book. Like, because, a lot of the X-Men were like, I don't know if we should trust him, because he's, like, going off and, like, searching for these fallen bits of his like space station or whatever,
right?
And
Asteroid M,
yeah. And that's where he finds his helmet.
Okay.
And then like the Crimson Dynamo and what's that Russian team? I wanted to say the October Guard, but that's the G.I. Joe Russian team. Like they're after him, and the X-Men are
Okay. Yeah.
trying to squirrel him away, and then the Avengers are after him. Oh, and the Avengers, like the book opens up on a splash page at a Kmart in Mansfield, Ohio.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of neat.
That is neat.
And Dr. Druid is like controlling the minds of the shoppers there, and he makes some sort of jab at consumerism, how easy it is to control the minds of shoppers.
Right.
And,
Did he go and flip off one of the blue lights to blue light special in the store?
No.
Yeah.
They didn't mention a blue light, but it was clearly like they didn't like obscure one of the letters or anything. They just said
Right.
Kmart really big, and I was like, huh,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Back when Kmart was a thing.
Yeah.
Now I think there's 2 Kmarts around.
I saw a debunked, dethroned, dilapidated Kmart yesterday. Like, it didn't have the sign up, but you're like, oh, that was clearly a Kmart out there by Hare Arena when we were out there. Yeah.
So, by your lady person's house too.
Yeah, they're all going the way they
For the most
do.
part, yeah. Dörfler.
Dörfler, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really hate to not be on board with this book, kinda, but, I could not really get into it. I read it twice, and then like, even when I gave it to you, I warned you that you probably need to read it at least twice.
Right.
And I guess I was right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the first time, like, I got 0 from it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, other than...
Oh,
like,
yeah, I picked up a little more on the second time around.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are little clues that, pop up in the beginning. But, like, unfortunately, like clues are supposed to do, where it leads you to, like, some sort of answer.
Right.
These just tie into other pages in the book.
Right.
And don't really answer
Yeah.
anything.
You're like, okay, well, that references this, and I keep going back and forth looking at it. Like, what does that mean? But I don't... Like, it doesn't tie together.
Nope.
I mean, it ties together, but it doesn't make anything when it ties together.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, the first time I read it, I was just thinking to myself that I really feel like I read this too quickly.
Yeah.
Because it is not a very long read. It's like 90 pages with some pinups in the back. And
Oh, the pinups are awesome.
pinups are all great, yeah.
Jim Ruggs.
Jim Rugg does
Yeah,
one, yeah.
it's great.
Dave Wachter does a pretty cool one. Yeah, like I read it. It takes no time to read. Like, a lot of it is wordless, and I was just like, I felt like I just blasted through this way too quickly.
Right.
I'm definitely going to need to read this again before I give it over to you. And like, I tried to take my time with the second time around, but like, I still don't feel like I gleaned anything worthwhile from it. And I still felt like I read through it too fast, even though I the second time around, I was like, okay, I'm going to look at every panel.
Right. Look at the background. See what's in the background.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, recommended for some,
Yeah.
not for others.
Try to figure it out. It's kind of fun. And it's beautiful to look at.
Right.
So, if nothing else,
Exactly.
just look at the awesome artwork.
And it's available on Comixology if you want to go that route with it. So,
And Fantagraphics makes the tangible version.
Yep. So, yeah, thanks for the gift, Chris.
Yeah, that's super cool.
It is super cool. Sorry that I did not really enjoy it that much.
Yeah,
But again, cannot say enough good things about the art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's so unique, too. It's not like...
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't... Like, the only thing that looks like anything else, and maybe it's because, like, I'm a huge Jeffrey Brown fan, and all of his color stuff the last few years...
weights and line work.
Yeah, because he uses the same kind of color brush pen thing going on, and that kind of reminded me of that, but everything else is, like, something I've never seen before. Right. It's just beautiful.
Oh, yeah. When I use the Jim Woodring analogy, it is definitely not to describe the art, because it is nothing like a Jim Woodring, artwork, but...
just the
feel
of it.
detail, but yeah, the tone and the type of story that it is definitely Woodring-ish.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, take a break here.
Yeah.
No, maybe read the book in between the breaks.
Right.
See if we come back with anything else.
Right.
Waking to these sounds again, I wonder how I'll sleep. Passing out is taking off into the stubborn deep. I'd like to meet a human who makes it all seem clear. To work out all these cycles and why I'm standing here. I'm falling over and over and over and over again now. Calling over and over and over and over again now. Running through my life right now, I don't regret a thing. Things I do just make me laugh and make me wanna drink. I'd like to meet a madman who makes it all seem sane. To work out all these troubles and what there is to gain. I'm falling over and over and over and over again now. Falling over and over and over and over again now. Projecting what I want is always hard to know. But when it comes between my sides, I'll let the damage show. I'd like to meet a spaceman who's got it going on. Sailing through the stars at night until our world is gone. I'm falling over and over and over and over again now. Calling over and over and over and over again now. Over and over and over and over again now. Calling over and over and over and over again.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey,
We did not read it again.
we did not.
No, but we went later.
We did not even look up any reviews yet.
Yeah, we thought about it, but
Yeah.
did not do it. It's better to be a mystery.
Yeah, hey, if anyone out there has read this and wants to, clue us in on some stuff, go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you read anything else lately?
Not fully, no. I started reading a book.
Yeah.
Like, without pictures or drawings.
That's insane.
I know, right? But I know. I just generally don't have a lot of time to read much anymore. And the time that I do have to read is usually times where I will be interrupted by everything around me.
Mm-hmm.
Or when I'm just super tired and I will pass out like a page into trying to read.
Right, yeah.
So I have not gotten very far. But it's a book called The Boy Detective Fails. I want to say the author's name is like Joseph Muno or something like that. I can't remember it offhand. It's on my phone, but I don't have it here with me. But so far it's really good. I'm like a couple chapters into it.
That's cool.
It basically is about a Encyclopedia Brown type character,
Right.
And just like a very smart and precocious young boy who sort of becomes like a detective and helps solve crimes around his town. And he's got his little gang, which includes his best friend and his sister, and they all help him solve these crimes. And then he grows up and goes to college, and his little sister winds up killing herself, and he winds up attempting to kill himself, and then stays in an insane asylum for like the next 20 years, and finally gets released, and is determined to discover who was it that murdered his sister.
Huh. Wow. Huh. And that's where you're at?
That's pretty much where I'm at this
Wow.
point. Yes.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. It is apparently it's a book that helped influence the Venture Brothers, which I gather because I've read interviews with Jackson Public that the central theme of Venture Brothers is just about failure.
Aw. But in a fun way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a great show.
It is. And then the central theme of Boy Detective Fails is that, hey, you're good at one thing in life, and then once you use that up, you're fucked.
Aw. I don't know if I would agree with that theme.
Haven't seen any proof otherwise.
I'm good at, like, 90 things.
Yeah, but you've given up on sorting magic.
That's true. Oh yeah, I don't actually do any sorting in magic, but I do, unfortunately, like, do a little bit of magic trading and, stocking and whatnot. But yeah, I'm done sorting it. We have sorting people for that. Including one that apparently was never actually hired. He just showed up a couple different days and started working there.
Did you... I feel like maybe you told this story.
I think I told it just to you. I think.
Just to me. Okay.
Yeah. This guy, like.
Well, if you did tell it last week, we were sorry. Tell it again.
Yeah. Okay. This guy shows up. We'll call him Henry.
All right.
And Henry shows up, and one day I was like, oh, there's a new magic guy. When I walk in, he was already behind the counter, and he like worked the rest of the night. And the next day I was like, so yeah, Henry, worked and he did okay, and our manager Chris was like, what? And I was like, yeah, Henry, the magic guy, he did okay. He did some sorting and he seemed busy. He's like, I didn't hire that guy. Like, he came in and said something about working, and he's like, no, that guy does not have a job here. Like a friend of his like sorted cards for us, and apparently that guy told him like maybe he could help out sometime, and it's just a big misunderstanding. And I was like, oh, well, that's messed up. That's weird, And then we didn't see him for like a week, and then I came in a week later, and Chris is, the manager, Chris, is behind the desk at the computer, and I walk on back, and Henry is back in the magic section, sorting magic cards again, and I was like, well, that's weird. Clearly Chris knows he's there, they're right. Like 10 feet away from each other, and so at the end of the night, when Henry like leaves like an hour before we close, I was like, so what was the deal there? And he's like, well, he showed up, and the other guy called in sick today, and I was like, well, I guess he knows what he's doing, so why not? But he's like, but after tonight, no more. And so like I haven't seen Henry back there since then. But I was like, man, that just goes to show you, if you really want a job somewhere, just fucking do it.
Hell yeah.
Just go there and start doing it, and you might get hired.
Maybe my new strategy for finding a job.
Yeah. Just show up and start doing the work.
Right.
Especially if you're at a job, that's kind of like loose and under the table. And I think he was working for store credit, so he was just like, here's the cards I'm taking. So, it's not like he has to rely on like a page check ending up at his house or something.
You have to sign a W-4.
Right. No. So, yeah. Anything else fun?
Well, there was a comic show that I went to yesterday.
Yeah. We both went there.
We did.
Independently of one another.
Yeah. You were actually working there.
I was working there.
Mavericks had a booth.
Yeah.
Selling some crap.
Yep.
Did you guys sell a bunch of crap?
We did. It was kind of a little slower. Like, it's the fourth time we've done that show, and this was, I would say, the slowest, like, at least traffic-wise. It was made up for it, like, the very end of the day, like, in the very last 5 minutes, a guy came by and he bought a Luke Cage Here for Hire #1.
Okay.
It was like $150.
Sure.
So that helped.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, it was kind of, I don't know if you noticed, like, there just wasn't a ton of people there.
There was not, which was really pleasant.
Right, yeah. It wasn't very crowded.
I mean, for me, anyway, just being a browser.
Right.
If it had been crazy busy, I probably would not have stuck around as long as we did. So I went with Joe G. Mm-hmm. I probably would have convinced him, hey, well, let's get the hell out of here.
Well, you guys got there like maybe 1 or so.
Yeah.
And it opened at 10, and it was actually really busy from like, I'd say like at least 10 to noon, or 10 to 11 maybe. Like I was like, wow, this is going to be a good show. Like out of the gate, we were like doing sales and there's people everywhere. But for some reason, after like noon rolled up, it was kind of slow.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I did buy some stuff while I was there, though, and I had gone in with the intention of not buying a single goddamn thing. But Joe G kind of helped ruin that for me. Although, it's my fault, too.
But he assisted.
Oh, he did. I believe we figured it out that it is 30% his fault.
Okay.
Yeah.
You and him figured that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least he's aware.
Yeah. Well, he took most of the blame, and I said, no, you don't get most of the blame. It's my willpower. I could have said no to anything that he showed me.
So was he just like kind of like nodding in a direction, like, hey, look over there, that? Or was he like physically like pulling books out of boxes?
Oh,
like,
he was physically pulling books out of boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to buy this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he wasn't even saying that. Like, he would just pull the books and I was like, eh?
Yeah.
I'd be like, God damn it, Joe.
So what did you get? Anything cool?
Well, it started off and there was like the only 2 quarter boxes in the entire room. And
I love quarter boxes.
Quarter boxes are kind of great. And there was a lot of good stuff in there, too. But, I also had quite a bit of the stuff that I was looking at. But I bought 2 issues of the Jack Kirby Superpowers miniseries.
That's cool.
In the quarter boxes. And then Joe, like, flipped through this thing, and he pulled out this book and showed it to me. And he was like, oh, this is issue 2. I think I may already have this. And I looked at it, and I was like, you're joking, right? Because, like, I had never heard of it, and it just looked shitty. And I was like, this is not a thing that he would ever buy. Well, what the fuck is he talking about? And he was like, no, yeah, seriously, I think I already have this. I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, it's Brian Michael Bendis. And I was like, what? And so, like, I grabbed it from him, and I flipped through it, and I'll be goddamn. It is a Brian Michael Bendis book that I had never heard of before.
Wow. Ultimate Spider-Man?
Ultimate Spider-Man. No. It was called Quivers.
Yeah, I don't know that one either.
It was from when he was doing stuff for Caliber Press. So it was definitely early on in his career, but, I mean, like, like Fire and Jinx and Goldfish are all constantly being reprinted. I think Marvel prints them now.
Yeah, right.
But, like, out of all his early work, that's like, everything big that I knew of was published, but
right.
never fucking heard of Quivers. Like, I've even heard of Angels of Destruction, which was a Malibu book that he wrote.
Wow.
Because I remember buying, I believe it was also for a quarter, bought a copy of that for my ex-girlfriend at the time, who was going to see him at a convention, and she was going to get that signed because that was like right at the time when Ultimate Spider-Man was hitting. And she's the one who actually turned me on to Bendis in the first place. She gave me Jinx and Goldfish to read. And so I found that shitty Malibu book. And she was like, oh my god, I'm going to get this signed. Never fucking heard of Quivers.
Was it like a Green Arrow type of thing? Like people with arrows?
Nope. Actually, I got it right here. I'll pull it out. The stack of stuff that I bought. And as you can see, it is a hefty stack.
Yeah, it's
for going in with no intention of buying a single thing.
6 inches deep stack.
At least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got some Jack Kirby Superpowers. And I got this Wrath of the Spectre reprint series, which reprints the old Jim Aparo Spectre stories from the 60s.
Nice.
I bought this couple issues of Marvel Tales featuring Spider-Man, which reprints old Spider-Man stories. They've all got Todd McFarlane covers.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I got one random issue of Blue Devil that I needed.
Nice.
I got this New Gods reprint series that reprints the original New Gods from Jack Kirby, except for issue 1. Couldn't find that. The 3-issue Dune adaptation.
Wow. That goes for like $10 on eBay.
Really?
The set. Because we got those in the collection the other day and looked them up.
These are all $1 each, and they're in pretty good condition.
Yeah.
Bill Sienkiewicz drew them.
Yeah, I know. And when I first saw them, I was like, wow, they have Sienkiewicz covers? And then I opened them up and I was like, the whole thing is Sienkiewicz.
Right,
Or Sienkiewicz, apparently. But yeah, they're beautiful.
They are. And I hate the movie. The movie's fucking awful. But still bought them anyway because Bill Sienkiewicz. And also, I think I kind of knew that they were maybe something I could turn over and sell.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see them too often.
Yeah, but then here's Quivers, Book 2 by Brian Michael Bendis.
Quivers.
And just flipping through it, I have zero idea what it might be about.
And it looks like it's pronounced Culvers because the I is like way taller than the rest of it.
Yeah.
Huh, yeah, Caliber Press. I would read you the year, but it's so hard to read.
I could not see at all. I did take a picture of the cover and posted it on Twitter.
It's like 91, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
That's what it looks like. It's really poorly.
Yeah.
He's from Cleveland?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't currently live there, but yeah, he's from Cleveland. I think
Weird.
Jinx and Goldfish both took place in Cleveland.
So he drew this too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Back when he used to draw stuff, he drew Jinx and Goldfish as well.
He's not a bad artist.
No, not at all. He went to art school. I know that for sure.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's true. Yeah. I knew some terrible artists in art school. But yeah, I posted a picture of that on Twitter, tagged him in it. Said, my friend found this in a quarter book, so I decided to buy it, because what the fuck? And he responded and said he would be more than happy to give me my quarter back. So apparently, he must not have too many fond thoughts about this either.
Do you know how many issues it went?
I have no idea.
I mean, this is number 2.
Oh, and I have just seen the back cover, which I apparently have not noticed until now.
Babes. There are babes everywhere. And they're all out to get me. Wow. Wow, that's literally what it says. And
Yep.
there's a guy like holding
this
this.
verbatim.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
So, hey, quarter, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, if Brian Michael Bendis wants to give me a quarter back for it, that'll make up the quarter I lost at GameStop once.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, if you're ever at a convention, you know he's going to be there, you should tell him, like, bring a quarter, I'm going to bring this book.
Yeah, so that was fun and pricey.
Right. I think I ended up spending $15 while I was there. But I got a pretty good stack of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I got a graphic novel that I didn't know existed by an artist I love, Igort. He did like a couple random things, like the thing he's probably, I don't know, most famous for, if air quotes around famous.
Sure.
He did the cover to a 3-inch record that was a split between Melt Banana and Fantomas.
Okay.
But yeah, there's like this weird, like late 80s or maybe early 90s, like it looks like some bizarre artsy porno thing that he did.
All right.
And I didn't know it existed,
Right.
but it was in this guy's $5 bin. I was like, oh, I'll take that. And then I've got a few random issues of Cerebus that I needed, and the aforementioned X-Men vs. Avengers miniseries, and an old Kim Deitch underground comic called Corn-Fed Comics, which made me laugh out loud while I was reading it. It's so good.
That's good.
And then like a half a dozen issues of Jack Kirby's Captain Victory that I didn't have. But yeah, I got all that for $15.
Nice.
So that was pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of these were just dollar books. I think the Spectre series was $10 for all 4 issues. So, there is one thing that I'm very curious whether you bought or not.
Oh, the Stephen Platt portfolio?
Yeah.
You told me about it, and I went over and I looked at it, but I think, like, in my mind, it was like this, like, gonna be this, like, 11 by 17 portfolio,
right.
but it was one of those, like, comic book size portfolios, and I was like, it was sealed, so I didn't look in it, but I was like, it's probably just, you know, like, black and white versions of the covers.
Right.
I was hoping it would be, like, this portfolio of, like, unpublished splat art.
Right.
Stephen Platt, and, so no, I didn't buy it. I didn't chance it.
Oh, that's too bad.
If it would have been, yeah, like I said, if it would have been Liefeld, you know, and it would have been $20, I would have bought it. But no, I did not go for it.
Yeah, that's too bad.
But that's the guys whose booth that I bought the Igor book at. He had some cool stuff. He had weird stuff.
Super weird, yeah. I know Joe spent like 20 minutes looking through the box full of like digest reprints.
Yeah. Those are cool.
Like novel-sized reprints of comics.
Those are awesome. Yeah. And he had like a ton of those Marvel treasuries for $5 each. Right. They were kind of beat up, but and then like some cartoon strip reprints. So yeah, he had some neat stuff.
He had the Barry Windsor Smith Storyteller series, which I thought about buying, but I was like, I don't know that I want to pay $5 an issue for it.
He had a couple of sets of that Stranko History of Comics too. Neat stuff.
Yeah.
I mentioned Cerebus a minute ago, though. Have you heard the thing that Dave Sim announced this week?
No.
It's actually something kind of cool and not really crazy and weird.
Okay.
Apparently he has a warehouse that he's had a spot rented from, since the probably late 90s or early 2000s. And so there's between 100 and 4,000 copies of all the issues of Cerebus from like number 100, or just over 100 through 300. Mm-hmm. And they're closing in December, and it's just him and one other tenant that has it there. And basically, he said that he wants to save like 200 or 300 copies of every issue that's there. There's like a couple issues that aren't, like the number 300s are all sold out, and like one or two other ones, but he said he wants to save 200 or 300 copies for himself just to like have, and he wants nice copies. And he said they come in these boxes, like this is like they were printed and put right in these boxes and left in this building. Right. And he said a lot of them, like when you open up the box, like the top like section of them are kind of crunched because like the people that put them in there aren't like comic fans. They're just like, we're printing this crap. You know? Right. And he said, basically, he's going to select a date between now and December, and he'll be announcing it really soon. And he's going to say, anybody that wants to come and help him sort them and, like, sort out, like, nice copies of each issue until they get a certain amount, then they'll box that issue up and, and move them along. Anybody that wants to help them sort, he said, please come up and help, and you can take as many copies of as many issues that you want. Just so they don't end up in a landfill somewhere. Right. He said, especially if you work at a library or a comic shop, or a way to get these in the hands of new readers. Right. Because basically, he just wants to sell because Diamond doesn't even stock these anymore, and nobody's ordering back issues from him. Basically, the trade paperback's the only thing that he sells. Right. So he's like hoping like somebody will read one of these and be like, oh, I'll buy that trade paperback. So it's really weird, but
you're going to Canada.
I'm going to try to go to Canada because it's actually not even as far. Like, he lives in Kitchener, but Kitchener's like way up there. Right. The warehouse is just kind of over the border from, I guess, Gary, Indiana. Okay. So it's not that far.
I'll have to go through Gary, Indiana.
I'll have to go through Gary, Indiana. I know, you just hold your breath for a while and take some scented candles with you.
Hope you don't run into a stray Jackson.
Right? Oh. There's a couple of them roaming around, you never know. But I'm like, how fun would that be? And he said he'll be there and he'll sign copies for people. Nice. And as long as his hand will let him, because he had some hand trouble. Yeah. But I was like, how weird and fun would that be?
Sounds like a lot of work, but
I love sorting comics.
Yeah.
Well, I told my brother about it because my brother's who like turned me on to Cerebus when I was like 13.
Turned you into Cerebus?
He turned me onto Cerebus. Okay. And he was like, his exact response was, he's like, man, he's like, I love sorting through comics. He's like, and I'll sort through a box of comics, and if I find one issue of Cerebus, I'm super excited. Right. He's like, how great would that be to sort through like nothing but Cerebus,
Maybe it would get boring.
I doubt it.
Like, this is too much Cerebus.
Right? Yeah. Possibly. Right. But I was like, yeah, that's kind of fun.
Well, I wish you luck on that.
Yeah.
Definitely keep us all, apprised of that.
Hopefully I get to go. Yeah. I mean, you never know. I might not be able to get whatever day that is off work or whatever. Right. So, and especially, like, I don't know that I would go by myself, but if my brother can get off work, he said he'd go with me.
Sure.
So,
we got vacation time.
Yeah.
I don't have a passport to Canada.
See, I don't think my brother does either.
Yeah. But no, I would go, I guess. Yeah, I'm happy to like sorting through comics.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I have zero interest in Cerebus, but, you know, it helps sort some comics. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, no passport, so.
Yeah. But yeah, it could be fun. Look it up.
I'm sure Brian John Mitchell would go with you.
I thought about that, but like he's got like a whole family now and everything.
Fuck that guy.
He's busy, I'm sure. I mentioned it to him. I sent him an email, but what was I going to say? Sarah, passport,
Canada, sorting, brother.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be fun.
Yeah.
Could be fun.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it was. If you Google a moment of Cerebus, like that's where the video is. Like he doesn't run the website, but this guy runs it for him.
Okay.
And Dave posts a video just about every week there about something or other.
Right.
So yeah, that's where it's at. If you want to look at it, a moment of Cerebus.
There you go.
By the time you see this, it might be like a few posts old.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we got some lost episodes we're currently airing.
I might have already been there.
Maybe, who knows?
It's Leamington. I've never even heard of Leamington.
Neither have I.
But
also don't know much about Canada other than Toronto is above us.
like on a scale of quality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else that's happened recently. Went to there's a bar here in Dayton that is frequented by many of our friends. I believe you also have gone there quite a few times, and I have always avoided it. But I went yesterday for lunch.
Oh yeah, Blind Bob's.
Bob's, yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that I would ever want to go there because they also do shows in the evenings. But I don't know that I would ever want to go there to see a show.
Right.
Because that place is fucking tiny.
It is tiny. And I can tell you, I've seen a few shows there and bands I like even.
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't really enjoy it that much because I just felt like the sound was just pummeling and I couldn't tell what was going on.
Right.
Unless I saw like an acoustic act there once and I was like, oh, that was really cool.
Yeah.
But like when I saw like a heavy metal band, I was just like, I can't hear it. You know, it's just like.
Yeah, the acoustics in that place are not great.
Right.
And their stage is like in front of the window.
Yeah. Right for the window.
Just not a lot of soundproofing happening.
And I feel bad because like it's a nice place. The people work there are cool.
Right.
I like the atmosphere. I like the food. I like the bands they choose. But it just didn't sound that great when I was there.
I think for me, the space issue would be what would get me the most. And the sound doesn't help either. The
last time I was there, it was just 2 or 3 weeks ago. I left. I forget where I was, but I was like on my way home in the evening time, and I was like, I just want to stop in there and have a beer. Like that's not me at all.
Right.
Like I don't just go somewhere by myself and have a beer. It was like I really feel like I kind of need this tonight, and I was just like stressed or whatever. And I stopped in, and I parked and I walked over there, and I could hear like music coming from in there, and I was like, oh, they're having a show because they don't always have shows.
Right.
And this was not a Friday night; it was like Thursday or whatever.
Right.
And I walk over, and the guy at the door is like, he's like, yeah, it's like $7 or whatever to get in. And I was like, I just want to come in and have a beer. I was like, I'll be honest with you, I'll be gone in like 12 minutes. I was like, I am not going to pay $7 just to walk in here and have a beer while I listen to some band that I don't want to hear. And he's like, just go on in. So he let me in, and I had a beer, and I was gone in 12 minutes.
Right.
So.
That's good.
So yeah, they're nice too. They're nice guys.
Yeah.
And gals. There's a couple gals
sure.
out there.
Yeah, don't be sexist.
Yeah. Yeah, don't do it, Captain America. Sexist prick.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hijack your Blind Bob story.
No, yeah, it's better than my Blind Bob story.
Oh,
My Blind Bob story is that I went there for the first time and I had a sandwich.
yeah, I was gonna say, what did you have?
I had a steak, egg, and cheese sandwich.
Nice.
It was very good. Came with some hash browns.
You didn't have a breakfast beer?
No.
Yeah.
It's 3 in the afternoon. I'm not having a beer.
Oh, some people go there and have... Bob Pollard goes there and has beers for breakfast.
Bob Pollard's an alcoholic.
No. He just knows how to live.
No, I did not have a beer. I just had a Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, not much else is happening.
Oh. Well, maybe, is this the part? I can't forget how we do this. Do you pick a movie?
Well, I don't know what's happening here. Because, I did sort of pick the movie last week, but that was also sort of just spur of the moment, let's do something kind of thing. So I don't know if that counts.
I feel like that was like kind of just like a random, like we decided on that movie together,
Right,
so
yeah.
I feel like you deserve a movie pick.
Yeah, but also, 300th episode is next week.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I know that a very long
We're gonna
time
watch
ago-
300?
Not on your life. I've seen that once, and that is one time too many.
We're in complete agreement there.
But I know a very long time ago we talked about doing maybe something, but we did only just recently decide to start doing this after our second lengthy break.
Right.
So I don't know if we just want to ignore that and just keep doing what we're doing and maybe do something special down the road. I will leave that up to you, I guess.
Gosh, it might be short notice to plan something extravagant.
Right. And when I say extravagant, I mean like let's get maybe one or two extra
Right.
people.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Right.
Maybe we'll have a surprise guest. Maybe.
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 I don't know.
I don't know. This reminds me. We bought a giant comic collection recently, Mavericks, of mostly 70s and early 80s stuff. And I'll be pricing stuff, and I'll be like, oh wow, there's Hulk number 300. It just has a nicely colored Brett Blevins cover.
Okay.
That's how they celebrated the fact that it was number 300.
Right. Yeah.
And then like if you flash forward 10 years, like every sort of anniversary has some sort of foil cover or like some big blurbs announcing that it's number 375.
Right.
It's like I like the subtle, respectable celebrations. Where you're just like, guess what? This is number 300.
Yeah.
Moving on. Yeah. It was like double sized, really nice cover, like nicely drawn.
Right.
But there was no foil, no gimmicks, no bags, no cards. No like reprints. Like it was just like nice issue of the Hulk.
Right. So you want to do a nice issue of Gutter Trash?
Well, we could double size it.
Okay.
We'll get somebody else in here.
All right. Well, hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna pause.
Oh.
We're gonna discuss something.
Oh wow.
And we're gonna come back.
This is unprecedented.
And we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do for episode 300 here.
Okay.
And
Should there be a musical interlude for the listener?
Maybe I'll pick like a short song.
Okay. Yeah.
Rick Wakeman, eat your heart out. Here we go.
Hey, thanks for letting us take that short break here. We kind of put our heads together to think a little bit about what was going to happen for episode 300.
Yeah.
I think we've got a plan. I won't give you all the details now, just in case some things don't work out.
Because it involves people that don't know they might be involved.
Exactly, yeah. We usually want to give them, a little heads up. And then because we're actually releasing the lost episodes right now, we're actually a little bit ahead. Mm-hmm. So we've got some time to coordinate this, but I think the basis of our plan is set.
We're going to read all 300 issues of Cerebus.
Yes.
Because it's appropriate.
Yep. And we're only going to devote 1 minute to each issue.
And when I get to Canada, I'm going to kidnap Dave Sim and bring him back so he can review them with us. And he can explain why they got so much better, like, over the years, and, like, ended on a high note.
Right. Or we can do what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Which is, we're going to review a movie. And I know, it's the same thing we always do. But we might have a guest. We don't know yet.
Right.
It's going to have to work itself out off air. But I'm going to guarantee at least one guest.
Yeah, we'll have it. If we have to grab the guy that's bagging groceries at Dots,
right,
we'll get somebody.
I hope it's not that guy, because he seemed kind of dim-witted. If anything, maybe like one of the girls working the fried chicken counter.
Oh yeah, fried chicken girls. They're fine. Yeah, they're fine.
But we're gonna watch a movie, and hopefully rope someone into this. But we're gonna watch 1997's classic high watermark of the superhero genre of films, Batman and Robin.
That's right.
Directed by the auteur, Joel Schumacher.
Right.
Starring the effervescent George Clooney as Batman.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Who else is in that? Uma Thurman's in that,
Uma
right?
Thurman, yeah.
Arnold
Schwarzenegger.
Chris...
Wait, hold on. Is this our first Arnold Schwarzenegger movie?
It can't be. It can't be.
No, yeah, we did that one drama with Jeff Bridges.
Oh, Fat City?
Yeah,
No,
that was it.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, that's not it. Fat City was the boxing movie. This was the bodybuilding movie that Jeff Bridges also was in.
Oh, that's why I'm confused now.
Yeah. But they both came out at around the same time. God damn it! What the hell was the name of that movie?
I can't remember.
But yeah, we have done at least one Schwarzenegger.
But it wasn't like a Schwarzenegger movie.
Right? Yeah. He was essentially just playing himself.
Yeah. As he is in this movie.
Yeah. Let's see, Chris O'Donnell. Of course,
Chris O'Donnell,
Robin.
that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So Batman and Robin.
Oh, awesome. I don't know that I've seen that all the way through. I know I've seen bits of it. But
Nice.
Yeah.
I have seen it all the way through a couple times.
And you're still willing to watch.
And I would even say fairly recently that is something that may have happened.
Wow.
So, yeah. Ooh, although I just thought of this because it's a movie that I have not seen in quite a while, and maybe we should change it up to Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Oh, man. I think I would rather watch the Batman movie.
I feel like the Batman would be more fun.
Yeah.
All right, Batman and Robin. We're doing it up.
300. We're subtle celebrating.
We are subtle celebrating.
Because that movie is nothing but subtle.
Yep. All right, then.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. All right, we'll see if we can pull this together. And if not, if it's just you and me talking about Batman and Robin, then it's just another day for us.
That's right. Yeah. Business as usual.
Exactly. All right. So, see you next week then.
Yes, we will.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening to Gutter Trash. You can subscribe to the show from guttertrash.net or from iTunes and leave us a review. Visit guttertrash.net for email information, links to our Facebook and Twitter pages, and for other podcasts and websites in the Gutter Trash Network. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.